Alright, welcome to today's video everyone. Today we're going to be looking over a pretty popular subreddit. It's a subreddit full of some very entitled parents. It's r/entitled parents in fact. I don't think I really need to harp on about what's going to be in there. I think pretty self-explanatory, so let's get right into it. My neighbor's mum tried to ground me. I live in a duplex and the 19-year-old guy next door loves blasting dubstep at 1 AM. Last week, I knocked on the door again and asked him to please turn it down. He rolled his eyes, but did it. The next day, his mum came over and said,
"You don't get to discipline my son. You're grounded until you learn some manners."
I blinked at her and said, "Ma'am, I pay rent and taxes. I'll ground myself when I'm dead." She huffed and stormed off like she expected me to cry or something. Her son hasn't played music after 10 PM since. Guess I'm grounded and effective. It's pretty telling what this mother considers disciplining. If you just going over, knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, can you turn the music down? It's fucking 1 AM," is considered discipline. It's extremely telling. My estranged mother thinks she's entitled to my homemade jelly. My aunt sent me the following text from my estranged mother. "Let your niece know the honeysuckle is in full bloom. We will not be home tomorrow if she wants to come get some then, but I want a couple jars of her strawberry jam in exchange, and I think stepfather's name will want some honeysuckle when she makes it." Wow, the entitlement. I'd rather collect flowers sprayed with poison and make jelly out of that. It would still be less toxic than her. It would be nice to know more context on just how entitled this mother is, like how long they've been estranged for, and if she's still just like 5 years later, like, oh, god damn, that jelly was just so good. Which also, just jelly is such a weird thing to call jam. It's just jam. I don't know why you call it jelly, because jelly is like the little wobbly dish that like everything was in the 60s. Jam is a spread. But yeah, it'd be nice to know how long she's just been dreaming of your jelly. Entitled mum keeps telling her kid to take my things. Today was my first time visiting Crumble Cookies. I bought 4 huge cookies to try and share with my friends. On my way home, I decided to enjoy the cookie I had gotten for myself. I was sitting at one of the little picnic tables where my condo is, and who should show up? But of course, my neighbor's friend, who is an entitled parent. This is not the first time I've encountered her. So I'm looking at my phone and eating my cookie, basically doing as many errands on my phone as I can, when suddenly I hear this entitled parent open her mouth.
"Look at that, Olivia. There's 3 giant cookies in there."
Entitled mum is pointing to my box of cookies.
"Why don't you go ahead and pick out a cookie that you like? As we all know, it's very important to learn how to share with others. And this lady didn't share with you last time we saw her. Maybe she's learned her lesson."
Entitled mum says. Brief backstory. The last time I encountered this woman, I had 2 candy canes because my blood sugar level was low, and I was on my way to my doctor's appointment. I am a type 1 diabetic. I obviously did not give the child one of my candy canes. At the time, I needed it as life-saving medicine. Anyways, I look up and this entitled mother is folding her arms and giving me the most smug look ever. Her kid comes running up to grab a cookie out of my box, but I'm faster. I immediately close the cookie box. The little girl seems shocked. The mum lets out the most obnoxious grunt.
"Oh, come on, you don't need all those cookies. You didn't even share with her last time you saw her. I'm trying to teach her manners and sharing. We share when we have more than what we need."
I look at the little girl, ignoring the mother, and I said to her, "Today I'm going to teach you another very important lesson. Can you listen carefully?" The cute little girl nods. I told her, "You should never take food from a stranger. You should only take food from people you know. Because for all I know, there could be something that you're allergic to in these cookies, and that might make you very sick. I don't want to accidentally give you something that might make you sick. You don't want that either, right?" The little girl nods. I smile at her. I say, "Also, another thing to learn in life is sometimes we can't always get what we want. So you might want one of these cookies, but for all you know, I have other people that I'm going to share them with, and then they'll be sad when they didn't get a cookie. We should always ask before taking things from someone." I tell her I'd be happy to share a piece of my candy with her if she asks me nicely the next time I see her, and if mummy can confirm that there's nothing in it that might make her have an allergic reaction. The little girl smiles at me and says, "Okay," and thanks me. The look on the entitled mum's face was priceless. I think she probably would have slapped me upside the head. but I was using my wheelchair at the time because my dysautonomia is really acting up today. I don't know why, but it looks especially bad if you hit somebody using a wheelchair. Even more so if you do it in front of a large group of people, which there are plenty of people out enjoying the nice weather today. I got enough satisfaction in not only teaching the kid lessons that she needed to learn, but then just by watching the entitled mother storm off and drag her daughter back into one of the other surrounding buildings. I wasn't lying. I did get the cookies to share with my brother and friends. Perhaps if they had asked me nicely, I wouldn't have minded sharing one of the giant cookies I had bought for myself. But both times I have encountered this entitled mum, she has just told her kid to take something from me without asking. That poor kid is going to grow up on the wrong path if she thinks she can get away with that. However, if the kid does happen to ask me nicely the next time I see her, I will follow through on my promise. I usually do have low blood sugar candy to spare on me. I'll give her one of my little bags of Skittles. Crazy entitled parents. I am glad this woman doesn't live here. I don't want to have to encounter her more than every once in a while. She's the opposite of Mary Poppins, practically unpleasant in every possible way. This OP points out some really great things, especially the whole like, you don't know what's in my food. If you're in a different community, those cookies could have been laced with, well, anything, but I think we all know the obvious one, right? And so you don't really want to give a space cookie to a little kid who's still learning about sharing, because they're definitely not equipped for that. I am glad that this OP didn't take it out on the kid. You know, the kid probably still really likes this person. They think they were so nice and just teaching them things. And look, they might even get some candy next time. But yeah, this mom is terrible. This kid is very unfortunate for having her as a mother. My parents are demanding that I let them stay with me on their next trip. I'm in my mid-20s and live in a different state to my parents. Boundaries are a foreign concept to both of them, and they've always viewed me as an extension of them rather than my own person. My parents plan on visiting the state I live in next month and are demanding to stay with me. They didn't even ask if they could stay, they told me that they're staying with me and refused to accept otherwise. I'm a medical student, currently living in a tiny studio apartment. I don't have room for anyone to stay with me, nor do I want anyone staying here. My course load is overwhelming and I need a quiet place to study. I work part-time and pay for everything myself. Despite them being self-made multi-millionaires, they have refused to help me financially since I moved out at 18, which was a nightmare ordeal filled with years worth of guilt trips, emotional blackmail, the works. I live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, in a country where the cost of living is at a crisis point. I struggle to pay for essentials every week. Nonetheless, my parents feel entitled to stay with me for free because they raised me. I put that in quotation marks because they were neglectful and largely absent throughout my childhood. I had to essentially raise myself from the age of 12 onwards, while also being heavily parentified and forced to fulfill the role of a spouse to my father. What does that mean? I had to grow up very fast, and my relationship with my parents is damaged as a result of not only this, but the extensive abuse they inflicted upon my siblings and me. I have told them that I can't have them stay with me, but they won't have it. I'm worried that they're going to turn up with their luggage and force themselves into my home. I don't want to have to call the police on them if they turn up, but I can't have them stay here. What should I do? I'm a little bit caught on the role of a spouse because I'm not sure what else that can mean. If this were me and that was a situation I was in, my parents wouldn't have a way to contact me. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not sure if that is explained fully or not. But let's just go off the whole, they want to stay with you and you don't have room and or just don't want them, which is totally fair. Obviously, these people are self-made multimillionaires, as you say. They can pay for whatever kind of accommodation they want in that city. You don't want them there. Instead of calling the police when they come, you could always just tell them, should they come, you will call the police. And, you know, maybe that'll do something. But, you know, it's probably easier to give the little threat before, not really a threat, a warning, and like have them decide that maybe they shouldn't do that, than it is to like actually call the police. But yeah, I don't know. I would just say no, be firm, and don't open the door if they arrive. And if you know what day/time they're arriving, go out for some food. Go out to hang out with a friend for 5 hours. Leave them standing at your door. if they really want to do that, stand at your door for 5 hours and then realize they have to go somewhere else. It's like, I don't know how well this relationship is, so like a little bit of my recommendations are based on the fact that I saw that role of a spouse to your father. Maybe take my advice with a pinch of salt, but I would do something like that. Am I just supposed to let your child make everyone sick? They came into the dental office with their child, who has a terrible case of flu. I ask if the kid is sick, and they say yes. I tell them that they shouldn't bring a sick kid in here, and they snap at me that he is fine. He doesn't look fine. I'm not an idiot. He touches everything and everywhere. I tell him not to touch everything. Now we have to change everything to ensure the next patient doesn't get sick. The parents get mad at me and yell, "How dare you talk to our son like this?" Like what? Control your freaking child or don't bring him here. Are we not supposed to tell him to not touch everything? I tell them that we will no longer treat the kids here. They run out by yelling, "You aren't a good dentist anyway. We will never come here again." Good. It's a charity organization, you effing moron. I don't get paid to treat your child. I wish everyone would stop coming. I'd celebrate the day people stop coming. I hate people. Obviously you shouldn't take sick kids or let alone sick anyone anywhere really. They should be at home resting, recovering, and not getting everyone else sick. I think this goes like double for places like the dentist, because you don't know what they're doing at the back there. They could be opening up someone, going inside. I'm not a freaking doctor. I don't know how this stuff works, nor am I a dentist. But, you know, you could make people extra sick or give them infections while they're trying to like recover from wounds or whatever. Some stuff like that. At least that's what I assume as someone who is 100% not a doctor. My mum is mad because she didn't go to my kid's soccer game. My kiddo, who's 6, started soccer about a month ago. Practice is on Tuesdays and then games are every Saturday. I group chatted my family and my husband's family a picture of the layout of the fields and the game schedule. I told them in advance if something would change, we would let them know, but anyone is welcome to come. I'm pretty close to my mum as my dad died when I was a baby. She's pretty hands-on with my 3 kiddos, but favors my oldest as he's the first grandkid to her. This past Saturday, my brother decided to come to the game. I spoke to him the previous day, and he was the one who brought up going. When I spoke to my mum about her weekend plans, she said she wanted to tend to her garden and it was her weekend off. No mention of the game, and I didn't mention it as I was busy trying to manage all the kids after work and getting dinner started. Well, apparently, when I was feeding the kids lunch before the game, I missed her call. I didn't check my phone. I lose it frequently as I have ADHD and 3 kids who constantly need me help with things. I get to the game a few minutes late and meet up with my brother. He's helping my kids with something when my phone starts ringing and he answers it, and my mum is screaming at him to put me on. I ask her what's up, and she accuses me of not inviting her or letting her know the schedule, and it's my fault she didn't come as I didn't answer her phone call, which she was going to question the time of the game. I apologize about missing the call, but go into detail on how we are running behind, but she just started screaming at me. Then she goes, "You can tell your child it's your fault I didn't go," and then hung up on me. A few hours later, I tried texting her explaining that I was sorry I missed her, but there's plenty of other games in the future, and that I did send everyone the schedule. No response. She told my brother that I did it on purpose because I didn't want her going. I don't even know how to proceed. We haven't talked since the call. I already apologized for missing her call, but I don't feel like I did anything wrong. She tends to get mad at us frequently. It's very stressful as I have a newborn, a 2-year-old, and a 6-year-old. Life is hard right now, struggling everything. This is not your fault. This is entirely on her. If she is so laid back that she can spend her whole weekend doing something that she wants, like tending to her garden, then she should have like the mental time, lack of stress and everything to go through her phone and go, "Hey, I wonder if my 3 grandkids are doing something this week. Maybe I should text them." Or even, maybe I should look at the group chat where like they've posted the schedule. Or maybe she doesn't remember the schedule, maybe just look in the group chat in case anything was posted there. This is like not on you as someone who has 3 kids and is busy as hell. This is entirely on someone whose kids are now so old, they're having kids that they literally have nothing going on in their life. She has the mental wherewithal to figure this out herself. If she knew about it now, then clearly she found it somehow. And if she found it somehow, she could have found it earlier. so it's entirely on her. Also, this sounds like the game hasn't even started yet, which means I don't know how far away it is, but you could still get there for like the second half or something, which is not ideal, but you could do it. I'm planning to move out this summer, and my parents have no idea. I, F26, grew up in a Middle Eastern household. My parents are very abusive and I had a rough childhood. I won't go into the details of my suffering. This summer, I'm planning to move in with my boyfriend, M26, of 7 years, along with his mother and older brother. They know about my situation and are sympathetic. I won't be freeloading, I'll be financially supporting his mother. This arrangement is only temporary. I will enroll in a dual study program which combines university studies with practical work experience. This will help both me and my boyfriend move out sooner and finally have our own space. I can't drop out of university right now. If I do, my parents will find out and my life will become unbearable. I'm already considered the embarrassment of the family because I took a long break from my studies. I was suicidal. They pressured me into studying to become a teacher, even though I really don't want to be a teacher. I tutored for a while and I was so miserable. I'm scared. I feel immense guilt for disappointing them again and it's eating me alive. I'm anxious and uncertain about how things will play out. They'll be gone for 3 weeks and that's when I plan to leave. I know they'll be angry and heartbroken. I wish I could talk to them about this, but I'm just their 26-year-old daughter who's failing in their eyes. Seems like an extremely difficult situation. It's never a good situation having to move out from abusive parents. Realistically, you are taking the best course of action. The only planning or anything else that needs to come now is, I guess, how you're going to deal with the fallout or how you're going to deal with the future situation. Obviously, it's best to try and move out into your own place, but completely understand that moving in with your boyfriend is your only option. But yeah, because they're going to come back after 3 weeks, realize you're not living with them and you've gone somewhere else. So I guess what you really need to figure out is, are you trying to keep them in your life at a little bit of a distance? Are you trying to have them happy and you guys have dinner every weekend? Or are you just trying to be done with them? Because that's really going to change everything. I'm not too certain if they know where your boyfriend lives, because obviously that's probably the first place they'd go knocking. You kind of have to figure that out for yourself, and that'll tell you what to do. Either you're trying to not talk to them again, so you just block him, cut him off, and never hear from him again, or you trying to have them in your life, so eventually, I'd say maybe once you've moved out and while they're away, you try to explain the situation to them, or over text or message. Let them have say you've moved out a week into their 3-week holiday. Hopefully, if you can tell them with 2 weeks or something left in their holiday, that's 2 weeks that they can get a rational mind over it. And now I don't know your parents. 2 weeks could make it worse, so it's not a solution for everyone. It's the ideas I have based on that short story. Mom claims choosing to stay with my boyfriend is a huge slap in the face. I, 24F, have been with my boyfriend 23M for a little over 7 months, and it's been a huge problem with my family since the beginning. The second my mum saw a photo of him, she outright said he's not the person I should be with and that she did not support us. He has a couple of tattoos and a couple facial piercings, nothing too crazy. This is where it started. My boyfriend is the kindest and most loving man I have ever met, and we are best friends. I have never once doubted that this is the man I want to spend forever with. He is kind, gentle, understanding, everything I've wanted. My mum doesn't care to hear any of that. My boyfriend has his own house, car, and job, and has never once so much as raised his voice to me, so none of those are issues. The main issue for my mum and grandparents, Dad is not in the picture, is the way he looks. The fact that he did not go to college, comes from a poor family, and was not taught proper manners growing up. His family has a history of drug problems, none of which he has or has ever had. A few days ago, I told my mum that when I graduate and move away from my big girl job next year, I want him to come with me. This has caused a huge argument where she told me that she and my grandparents have been financing my entire life and giving everything they have to make sure I had a good life, and that I have been taking advantage of them and that I am ruining it all by doing this. That my life will be doomed to fail, and she can't believe I would be stressing my grandparents out so much at the end of their life. This was all a big slap in the face to them that I replaced her with him. I don't know how to cope with this. I love my family and we have always been close. We have never fought like this before, so I am not good at standing up for what I want. I feel like I owe it to them to be a good daughter/granddaughter, but I don't want to leave him. I am devastated to even think of it. Advice needed on how to move forward. I think it's something I always say, that just because your parents decided to have children and because they have children they have to pay for things, doesn't mean you owe it to them. Now, sure, you've stayed at their house for a little bit more than being 18, but it's your life. It's not theirs. At the end of the day, one day they're not going to be on this earth and you will be. And you'll be living for you. It's not really up to them. Now, what is up to them is whether they can handle you making your own choices and being in your life, or whether they need to leave your life. That's really their choice. From what you're saying, this is a great relationship, and there's no reason for you not to be in it. And obviously, I take the things I read pretty much at face value, because if you read a little bit too far into it, who knows? You don't owe them anything. Sure, they've helped you financially, but you're a big girl. You're going to be doing your own thing. All right. Now, we do have an update on this story. My dad came out of the woodwork to join the rest of the family in harassing me. Hi all, I, 24F, posted on here a couple months ago discussing what's been going on with my mum and grandparents' disapproval of my boyfriend. Since then, unfortunately, more has transpired. I recently had to move back into my mum's house a few weeks ago, since I graduated college in January and have since been really struggling to find a job. My boyfriend and I have now been together a year and a half. Both of us are struggling to get the funds together to move in with each other, hence the living situation now. I live about an hour and a half from him and I miss him every day. Things were fairly calm in terms of my mum and grandparents' disapproval of my boyfriend, for reasons explained in previous post. Until yesterday, when apparently my dad, who barely spoke to me in my whole college experience after he moved away, unblocked my mum to message her out of the blue. Apparently, after meeting my boyfriend for the first time at my graduation months ago, he has been sick with worry about my relationship and has now decided to care about what's going on in my life. He asked to call my mum confidentially to talk about this, and then proceeded to call and text my other family members to express the same concerns. That my boyfriend looks too alternative, he's bad at proper manners, doesn't have a formal education, therefore he's bad for me, etc. All of this happened before he finally texted me, who never at any point had him blocked, finally asking for a phone call for the first time in years. When I called, he belittled me the entire time, and I finally told him how I felt about how he basically never called or texted me, has never been there for me since he moved away with my stepmom almost 8 years ago, except occasionally sending me birthday and graduation money as he mentions, and has actively tried to get out of as many parental responsibilities as possible. He angrily started saying how his phone hasn't rung in years either, and I hung up on him. The text messages are here, follow that. I'm on mobile, so sorry about the links.
Hey Blorp, it's Dad. You've been on my mind lately, and I realised that now that you've graduated, I'd love to call you this evening and chat for a bit, and catch up. Can we set up a time to call you?
Dad, I was always the child in this situation, and now it's actually your job as the parent to be calling your own child. I tried in the beginning, and you had all kinds of excuses. You don't get any say in what I do with my life now, and I don't actually care what you think about anything I do because you haven't been there at all. You didn't care enough to barely send me a text once every 2 months, and stepmom can mind her business too because she never reached out to me once in the past, however many years. I do not appreciate being interrogated out of the blue because you finally found something that bothered you about my life and decided you needed to parent me now. No, you don't get a say. I'm sorry, Dad, but you need to reevaluate yourself and what you've been doing.
I wanted to connect with you, and instead of talking to me, you hung up on me. This is outrageously disrespectful behaviour to me, your father, and also to Blorp, your stepmother. We have done nothing to deserve this entitled attitude from you. We have been there for you, we have supported you, we have given you lots of money. We just gave you a graduation gift. I've always had an open phone line whenever you wanted to reach out and talk to me. I've reached out to you via text, and you have either responded weeks later or most times never at all. We've tried not to pry into your personal business and allow you to make your own grown-up decisions. But apparently, you don't want to be a grown-up. You want to act like a petulant, spoiled, entitled child and make 13-year-old decisions. Well, fine. If you don't think you need our help anymore, or your mother's help, or your grandparents' help, then good luck. You are on your own. Is that what you really want? And by the way, what's bothering me about your life is bothering your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, and other family members. Are all of them wrong, or do they all see something that apparently you don't?
Okay, Dad, I hope that you can say that you were happy with your choices as a parent. Have a nice life. I'm really sad and really tired about this treatment from everybody. My mum said that while she hated what my dad said to me, and he shouldn't have gone about it that way, she agreed about the stuff regarding my boyfriend, and that if they were still married, they would both heavily disapprove and urge me to leave him because he will ruin my life because of how different he is from us. I don't understand this at all. I love my boyfriend so much, and he has been nothing but kind and loving and sweet and understanding throughout all of this. I don't want to leave him, and I shouldn't have to. I'm an adult. I just think this is all insane. I am now no contact with my dad and really just not sure where to go from here. I want to move out so badly, but I cannot find a job for the life of me.
This is one hell of a story. Or maybe it's just long.
One of the main things you always have to think of is that just because you were born into something doesn't mean you have to stay in something. Now, it's up to yourself what situations you are happy to have around, which ones you aren't, what people you want in your life, who you don't. So I'm not telling you to make any decisions. This is entirely up to you. If you really do know your boyfriend, you think that they are this wonderful person, you're going to have an amazing life together, that's probably more important than trying to appease a bunch of people who are nearing the end of their life and don't want anything good for you. At least that's how I see it. We could completely be getting the wrong idea, and this could be like when a 17-year-old has a bad relationship, but they think it's amazing and they try to take everything out of their life just to focus in on that. It's a possibility, but I'm gonna take this person's word that it is a great relationship. Should you want to be with your boyfriend and create that life, that should be what you should do. I know the world is extremely expensive, but it is possible to move out. In most places that I've lived in the world, while minimum wage can be extremely low and you're not going to have the most fun lifestyle, it is possible to move out. If you are really serious about moving out and just need a place for right now, you can always be like a roommate. Like, you can go onto, I don't know where other countries do it, but Facebook, you can find rooms for rent and in other people's apartments. For most of the time, they're at a maximum half of your weekly salary on minimum wage. Again, it is expensive, but it is possible. So if that's what you want to do and you are 100% certain, it's probably best to thinking about making an amazing future for yourself rather than letting yourself get dragged back by people who don't want you to be happy or don't want you being happy at the expense to them because they're more important to themselves. Otherwise, I guess you can listen to them, see if they have any genuine criticisms about your boyfriend rather than just, oh, he has tattoos and he's not like us. If they have something where they're like, yeah, can you not clearly see this is how he's mistreating you? Then they clearly just don't want you to be happy. They want you to find their cookie cutter man and they want you to be with them. But that's just not how life works. So I guess it's all of these things are really just, how do you want to move forward in life? I personally would focus on moving forward with my life the way I wanted it and then let them catch up or chase up and try and create a relationship with you if that's what they want, or even message them every so often so that you can try keep them in their life, but I would focus on you and your future first. All right, well, I think that's enough Entitled Parents stories for today. So if you enjoyed it, I'm glad you've stuck it out this far, and like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and we'll see you in another one. Peace.